Hello all. Let us discuss about some of the differences between active and passive probes. Okay, active and passive probes are commonly used by the validation engineers in their lab setup. Right, probes basically help to interface the oscilloscope to the embedded circuits. Right, so it basically helps to debug what is happening at the circuit level. Correct. So probes are two types: active probe and passive probe. Basically, why this aggregation comes is there are different types of probes available in the market, where depending on the frequency we will be using the probe type. An example, if we see the differences between active and passive probes, active probe basically, as the name mentions, it requires the probe power to be active, for the probe to be active. So, whereas passive probe doesn't need any power. Okay, and passive probe basically is used for measuring low frequency signals. So, at low frequencies, passive probe offers high impedance to the signals. So that means it doesn't disturb the signal that it is measuring. Whereas active probe can also measure high frequencies without any issues, because it offers high impedance to the high frequencies as well. That's the major advantage of active probe, and this is a major difference between active and passive probes. And then why we cannot measure, why we cannot use passive probe for high frequencies is, as the frequency of the signal increases, the impedance of the probe that is shown to the circuit reduces, because the capacitance inside the probe starts dominating at those frequencies, and hence the signal we see is distorted. Whereas active probe can be conveniently used at higher frequencies. So, as we mentioned about the capacitance of the probes, passive probe basically has a capacitance of up to 12 pf, whereas active probe has 2 pf. So, picofarad, 2 picofarad is a lesser capacitance route. That's why it can probe the high frequency signals without any issues. The only disadvantage of active probe is it is costly, whereas passive probe, it is cheaper than active probes. But the quality of the passive probe, which is used at low frequencies, is very good. And the major disadvantage we can say for the active probe is the rate at which it fails. It need to be handled very carefully. There are many chances of active probe getting failed, whereas passive probe is rugged.